Call our meeting of the Bedford Township Park Commission. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Need a motion to approve the agenda unless anybody has anything to add to the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Support. All right. All in favor? Aye.
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 Okay. Approval of the minutes of the September 25th, 2023 Park Commission meeting. I will move to approve those minutes as written.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Signing of per diem slips is finished. Secretary's report. Nothing. Okay. Takes us to the treasurer's report.
Give me 1 second. Other than normal bills, we have, I believe it was a bill that had gotten missed at one point in time for the master plan for Mannequin Smith for $897.32. And then we have yard repairman cutting down the tree at Wheeler Park for $800. And we have bills from Mulch King for hauling away brush and dirt compost from Centennial and Colonial Pocket Parks, together totaling $200. With an overall treasurer's report of $2,329.38. And then for revenues, we have $2,248.25 for the cell tower at Car Park and $2,050 in rental revenue for the pavilions and halls at the parks. I motion to approve the treasurer's report.
I will second.
All right. Aaron?
Yes.
Andrew?
Aye.
Carol says aye.
Aye.
Chris, aye. All right. Community education. I do have a list from Nancy, if I can find it here. She sent a, thank you. I'll read the whole thing really quickly. Good evening. I'd like to submit the following report on behalf of the Bedford Community Education Program. The fall is off to a good start. The fall soccer season for 280 kids from pre-K to grades 4 to 6 is halfway done. Referees are tough to find, and we are having to pay more than anticipated to get refs. If you know of anyone that's interested, please call her at her office at Community Ed. Cross Country is wrapping up their twice-weekly runs with 32 students. Their last timed run is October the 16th. We're also running 2 clinics, volleyball and basketball, to help students in grades K through 5 learn and/or hone their skills before league play begins later this season. Their last clinic is this week. We received favorable reviews for both clinics. There are additional programs in the arts, karate, fitness, technology, and more for youth and adults. You can check the catalog for a full listing online. We added a trip to Frankenmuth on November 2nd, replacing our traditional Chicago trip. This day trip via motor coach will stop at Bronner's in the morning and then move on to the village for the afternoon. The bus will be available to drop off packages throughout the day. We are hoping that this is the start of a new revenue stream for Community Ed. In November, we move inside. Fall basketball registration for grades pre-K and grades K through 1 and grades 2 to 3 close this week. We are very close to being maxed out due to space limitations. We're also trying to run a grade 4 through 5 basketball program for girls, but numbers are running very low. Boys basketball for grades 5 to 12 will begin this winter, along with co-ed volleyball. We begin work on the winter brochure this month. As such, we're always looking for new programs and welcome any suggestions that you may have. But save the date. The annual Daddy-Daughter Dance is set for Saturday, February 10th. More details to come. Our numbers are back up from pre-COVID levels, and we are hopeful to continue to add programs and participants. Thank you, Nancy Crandall. All right. Take care of that. No presentations at this time. Public comments. Anybody want to do a public comment at this time?
Gail's got you.
Gail Kane, 1056 West Temperance. Do you need my mailing strip? No? Okay. I'm not certain, because you don't run yours necessarily the same way, but if it's about things on the agenda, you've got tree removal estimates for Parley and Wheeler. So is this, I was at the presentation when they had the Nature's Conservancy and have some grave concerns regarding those trees of heaven that are still there, the very large ones, and the need, the desperate need to get those taken care of. So is that going to be included in under 10? Is that part of that? Is that what that is?
One of those. We're talking about the one closest to the road. We're getting an estimate for that one.
Okay.
Meanwhile, well, go ahead.
All right, well, I didn't know, so I'm just saying that, we really, this is something you need to do, and publicly, hopefully, maybe some of these tree companies can step up and volunteer to just get them dropped. I mean, I think that would help with the whole situation, and if not, then I think you need to consider getting them taped so that we can monitor for the nymph stages of the spotted lanternfly to see, because they're right on the verge of our state line, and it will devastate the stone crop in the state of Michigan if this thing gets carried away. So they're watching it closely, and they were very attentive to the fact when I shared what I had heard through the Nature's Conservancy after that tour, the word went out throughout Monroe County. So that's just a heads up to you that whatever it is, and I would think that the township could do this for you, or at least resource for you some of these things that you need to get those trees down. It shouldn't come out of the park budget. This is a really desperate situation that needs to be addressed. So that's all.
All right, thank you, Gail. Anyone else? No, not at this time. Okay, we're considering approval of the resolution for sale of park property. So you have before you the resolution. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but basically this one is concerned with Lot 72 of the Covered Bridge Estates. So did you want to... I guess I will make a motion to approve the resolution for bids to sell Lot 72 of Covered Bridge Estates. Anybody want to second?
I will second with a minimum bid of $15,000.
All right. Anybody else want to give an?
That's not on here, the 15,000, huh?
No, that's what I was going to ask, if we get that added in. Because this is the lot that the neighbor had
The neighbor
initially
was interested.
offered on, and so we went through the
Yes.
public process of getting this all written up. What was his initial, because we thought it was extremely low.
I
I don't remember.
There was no
It
official.
wasn't any, yeah.
No, I mean we had talked a little bit, but never an official number.
Has an
official
appraiser or anything
offer.
come back with a number saying
No.
anything?
No.
No appraisal yet. All right, so there's a bid. Been motioned, seconded.
I'll second. Yeah.
All right, all in favor? Aye?
Aye?
Aye.
Drew?
Aye.
Chris? Okay. Motion passes. And I believe you're going to have to fill that in, Aaron? Okay. Looking official there. Tree removal estimates for Parley Park and Wheeler Preserve. Well, at this time, the only one, we paid for the one to be dropped at Wheeler. The other one, we don't have the bid on that one yet.
For
so
Parley?
Normally, no, we do.
Parley
Yeah,
you do, for
600
Parley, yes.
$600 for 2 trees.
For 2 trees at Parley, okay.
Should I make a motion to do that, I guess?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I motion that we spend $600 with yard repairman to
Second?
cut down the trees at Parley, and I'll meet them. I talked to them today on the phone. So, I mean, I guess once we make it official, I'll make a date with them.
Second.
Although I think we should get them paid from Wheeler.
It was
Just,
just
we
approved.
just, we just.
Right. I guess like once they get the money, then I'll make the date after they've been fully paid up. So
Okay, sounds good. All in favor? Aaron?
Aye.
Andrew?
Aye.
Carol says aye.
Aye.
Chris? Aye. All right, motion passes.
So that was for Parley.
That was for Parley. Yes, Wheeler, I don't have the bid in for Wheeler for the one particular tree by the,
Is that the
Parking
one
lot.
Edward was concerned on?
well, there's a
Nope, that
bunch of
one's
them,
been
but
That one was, I thought that was
Yep, that's the
cleared,
one we
okay.
just paid for. We're paying for now.
Gotcha.
No, there's it's one of the Tree of Heavens. So Carol walked.
I walked
the
it.
the nature parks with Pat.
Yep.
They marked a lot of trees that maintenance is going to cut down for us.
Okay.
well,
There's potentially cut down for us.
There's ones beyond.
But there's one that's close to the parking lot and maybe some power lines and
close to the
whatnot.
power lines,
that-
they were concerned, so we're going to
Yeah,
get that
so
one down
we're gonna look
first.
at
Good ice
somebody
storm
bring it
and
down.
ruin
Yep.
everything. Gotcha.
Yep, so we want to
So-
get that one done.
But they marked a lot of trees. But they're all the Tree of Heavens that.
They're
Run a risk.
invasive and need to
Yeah.
be removed. Okay, so get that done. Selection of bids for car park roofing project. So the bids were put out for the roofing project at Carr. We've got 2 responses. Did you want to detail those? You probably know more about it than I do. But
I mean, there's not a lot to detail. We've got 2 different bids. We got one from Holt Roofing, one from TJ Roofing. Holt gave us 2 different prices. One price for a re-roof at $34,616, but there are different fees across there that could potentially show up with insulation and potential sub-layers being rotted and needing replaced, which any roofing company will have those types of fees. They don't have the permits included in these prices, I saw. And then for a full tear-off, material and labor is $40,291. And theirs comes with a 20-year non-prorated material and labor warranty. We got TJ Roofing's bid is at $23,400, and that is to tear off and re-roof. I did that.
Does not include insulation.
Does not, well,
That's what, from what I took from.
it's a buffer from the. Yeah, it doesn't appear to have insulation included in this,
so
which could be, I mean, there's also extra fees
There's
here.
additional fees.
So the biggest difference that I saw in the bids though, were the warranties. TJ Roofing's warranty is only 2 years.
And that's only on workmanship, not materials.
Yes.
Holtz is
So-
material labor non-prorated. It's the full
So-
system coverage on the full re-roof.
So yeah, those are the bids.
okay. Do we want to make a motion to accept one or the other, or do we
I
want?
personally would,
Go ahead.
after reading them, I motion to approve Holt Roofing's bid for a full tear off and re-roof.
Okay, I'll second.
That was 30, how much 30?
That was like 40 and
That's
change.
40 and
Full
change.
re-roof with the warranty, 23 with.
No warranty.
It's a re-roof, it's not a full tear-off, it doesn't include the insulation replacement, all the details that we know are needed there, because it's only been re-roofed the past couple times. It hasn't ever been fully
Tear it off.
torn off and stuff.
That's also TJ Roofing, that the $23,400 one's the 2-year warranty and the other one's the 20-year warranty.
Of material and labor, non-prorated. The life of the roof, you get 20 years, it's full.
6 or 8 or 12 years or however long that a new park board and new people in township would not even like.
Recognize it, yeah.
I mean, like, are the people in these positions gonna, be hunting
Not
down
a bad
warranties
point.
20 years from now?
They should. I mean, it should be properly tracked and
Yeah.
File.
Yeah.
and filed away to do so. I mean, that's
Amen.
So let's send it to township with the recommendation on a full re-roof.
There we go. All in favor?
Wait, Chris made the motion for Holt and then
I seconded.
second, okay.
All in
Aye.
favor? Aye.
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 Okay. Passes. All right, discussion of possible purchase of land next to Cars Grove Park. So the map that you have in front of you, or under the pile of paper, this is the St. Paul's Lutheran Church next to Car Park. I was approached by one of the church members, and they said they would be interested in selling us a portion. So the church would have to go and split the lot however they want to do it. So if you split it right down the middle, that would be 3 acres, because it's about 6 and change acres there. My guess is they're going to want to do it a little differently because they've got some other construction thing going on here. So we might get maybe 3 acres out of it, somewhere from 2.5 to 3 acres probably if they split it. My issue with it is how far does the railroad right-of-way go? Because that would
Where our line
definitely
is on the
impact.
outfield, now on the field.
You think that's it?
Yep. It's usually minimum on railroad 10 feet, if not 20 per side.
Because I did some Google research and of course set up to 100 feet. And I'm
Could
like,
be,
if
yeah.
that happens, that
Could
there's
be
like
where it's taken away, yeah.
nothing we can.
The only
put
thing we
back
have
there.
out there is the outfield, so
Did
it
they-
hasn't affected us.
State any specific number they were looking?
They did not. They just,
acquire.
I said I would approach it to you, see if you were at all interested in pursuing it. If you are, then we'd go a little further and.
Well, because looking at it, it doesn't really suit the park itself in terms of where it's located, how it's located behind their building.
Without access to our lot.
Yeah, it's so
Well, you-
far off from parking.
Yeah, you have to go all the way back to cut over to where it would be. And it's probably not big enough for a ball field, and it looks to be a lot of drainage.
If we were able to get everything from their parking,
Creeks.
if we were able to get from their parking lot back, it could potentially be big enough for a ball field, but
Yeah,
Well,
because we
and that
can't
could
move the
be-
courts and shit. Because my biggest concern
Yeah.
here is we literally just did a 5-year plan and had Manikin Smith and paid them to base everything and plot everything and look at everything based on what we had, and now we're throwing 3 acres in for basically to pay them to do it all over again for that park.
I'm just not sure what benefit the park would have other than having more grass to cut.
Yep. Maintenance, more grass, and more land.
I mean,
Well-
potentially, maybe someday somebody could have a really good idea for it.
Oh, I already have a good idea, but you know.
A dog park?
No, but yeah. and
With no
and
parking lot
enclosed
access
and
or-
enclosed. Well,
That's
they
it.
have to walk their dog. I mean, you park over here in the gravel lot, and then you have to walk back. I mean, it's like at Wheeler where you've got
Yeah.
the trail and you walk back, or Ansted. At least there's a great gravel trail around there. But yeah, you just walk back, and it would be enclosed, and you could run your dog around.
Fencing,
Play
the
ball.
concern there would be where is legally, how far
Right.
can we do the fence line?
Exactly. That's what
Track.
we have to do some further research. I already mentioned it to Phil Goldsmith. He said he would look into it for
Well,
us.
let's
But,
table it
you
till
know.
we have more info.
Yeah,
we
the
can
biggest
do
piece of
I
info
get
we
it.
need is numbers.
before we
There's
can
no
make a
sense in
decision.
entertaining it if it's
Yeah.
not a realistic.
They're talking 200 grand for a
Yeah.
acre. We're not in the means.
Well, even 10,000 an acre is too much for something like that because it's landlocked by our land and their land.
And there's creeks running through it,
Right.
so it's going to be wet.
Is it buildable? Is it
So, right.
for?
I don't
How
believe those are.
far-
I don't believe those are creeks running through it, Carol.
That's drainage ditches is what from the look of it
You
here,
never-
they're all in
But that's
green here.
that's a friend of mine's house right there, and there's no ditch running through his house.
So was that elevation?
Potentially,
I mean, why there and not
I have no idea.
anywhere else on the map? That's my question. I was assuming it was a drainage ditch because you got it right next to the railroad.
No, there's there's drain tiles, but there's a catch basin here and there's a catch basin here. I know of. But I'm not quite sure what the green outline is. There's no key to tell us on the.
No, there isn't. No, there isn't. We'll have to follow
So-
that up and see what that is, because I was assuming that was drainage ditches along here.
So have you talked to them yourself, Carol?
Just the one time. They called and I said I would bring it to you, see if you're at all interested. If you're
I
interested,
think
we'll
price and-
pursue
I
it.
mean, yeah,
Price and
price.
potential's there.
Okay.
Let's get
Why?
some more info.
Just because they don't use it, they feel like they underutilize it, and we would utilize it.
They're-
Parks could
they're,
potentially utilize it.
They don't wanna cut it.
Parishioners have decreased tremendously, and so they haven't even mowed it in the past, 2 years back there. They just let it go. They can't afford it, and, so there's a potential we could ask them about part of that parking lot possibly, use the drive, park over there to get back to it. There's a lot to consider, so.
Say, does that run us in the scenario like we had at Samaria?
Yeah,
Everybody, we can use the lot, but
until we
Do
can't
we
use
wanna
it until
do
we
that,
can't.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But I figure it's worth pursuing.
I
We'd
know-
have to go take another look at it. I'd have to actually walk it.
Yep.
For me, I gotta
agree.
be able to see it up close.
I know they've been good with Black Ops being there and that allowing people to park in the back of that lot there right to the baseball diamond, and they've been welcoming. It's just a matter when it comes down to on paper what's.
Right, what we're gonna do. So, okay, I will get in touch with them and we'll pursue it a little further.
Worth getting the details on.
Yep. All right. Sounds good. Parks update, Anstead Preserve. I walked Anstead Preserve last week with the maintenance, Pat from maintenance. We marked there's a grove, I guess you could say, of the Tree of Heaven back there. And so he's going to take care of that one. He says he can drop that one, he's sure. And there's some young ones around it that he can also take care of. So that's the only Tree of Heaven area in Anstead that we know of. And Pat has said he is going to take care of that particular one. While we were there, I was pointing out the poplars. I mean, we talked about everything while we were back there, what needs to be done. So he's got a list. I'm sure we'll have to remind him by sending in requests for specific jobs. But it was good to walk it with him so he could tell me what he can do and what they can't do and how they can approach it and et cetera. So that's all I have on Anstead. Cars Grove.
I don't have an update. We already covered the roofing.
Okay. Anything else on Parley?
So the stone from the driveways, or for the driveways, is that something we order, or is that something?
So, pardon me, this week or either this week or potentially next week, Pat and the rest of the maintenance is going to attempt to scrape the ball diamond over there. They're going to scrape 2 to 3 inches of the stone off the top.
Then toss it on the parking lot.
Put it on the parking lot.
Okay.
As long as it's not full of dirt, it's going to go on the parking lot.
You think that'll be enough? I feel like it.
It'll be a good start. And then we'll have to see where it goes, where we are from there.
That's fine.
And then we could look into potentially getting like the 6s like we did over at White Park, which really cuts back on.
Needs to be done because that cuts back on the dust and it's actually parking lot stone.
Yes, it cuts back on the dust. It cuts back on the
Good for
mud.
filling in the low spots and the.
Yeah.
as long as it's
Well,
not
it's
full
a
of dirt.
more stable layer for cars to drive on, people to walk on, and
So in the past, though, we made a separate decision, purchased it, put it over there, and then maintenance spread it. Is that how
we did White Parks.
When we done okay.
north.
yeah. So
West.
Chaz did that, and it was Stone Co. Yeah, we purchased
Got it
the
from
stone
Stoneco?
With Mazarans picked up and delivered for us.
for free.
Did we talk to Bedford Slug? Didn't they put in a whole new layering of slide safe and all, and a lot on that field?
It washed right down into the screenings. That's why we're going to scrape that top layer away.
Already washed.
Yep, it washed right into the stone the old screenings came right back to the top. So Pete's working on trying to get quotes together for slide safe over there, either the regular slide safe. He's really trying to find quotes for. I guess they have the red clay colored slide safe, like what they used at I think the softball diamond is an actual red clay.
I believe that's what they used. Yeah.
Slide safe, that's red. So he's looking into that, and then he's also looking into trying to find somebody to come up with a material list for the small concession stand. And I've talked with Jacob Supply slightly, and they said bring a material list, and they could probably most likely donate all the materials.
to get that little building?
Yes.
So, okay, nice.
And so that way it could be used at a minimum of a storage shed to help maintain the diamonds over there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay. The other thought I've had about Parley is the parking lot, or so the parking or the driveway from the Civic Center out to Monroe Road. Do you think that is something we could buy for the park? Do you, change the dynamic of people entering through that neighborhood to get to the park, and if we all of a sudden were able to have that driveway, and flip it a little bit to the entrance being on Monroe Road.
So it's highly recommended, even by our master plan, that if ever given the opportunity to buy that property.
We should.
Yes, 100%.
Just the driveway.
Oh, no, the whole property.
I don't think they want to sell the whole property.
Probably not.
I don't either.
Yeah, they like their property.
Yeah, I know.
But just the driveway.
I don't think you could buy just the driveway, though. I don't think the township would allow it to
I
sell
don't think
like
they'd
that.
allow it
No.
to just be because
Then it would be an easement through the park to get to their property.
right, they wouldn't have access unless we cut it in half.
Like technically, the driveway at Parley Park is a road.
Except I called the road
I don't know
commission
that, yeah.
because I had
It's a private.
gentleman.
It's a private drive.
Yep.
We're responsible for it, but we're not allowed to.
We're
close
responsible
it off.
for
We're
it.
not allowed to close
Exactly.
it off.
I know that.
Yeah, they wouldn't come and put stone. I said, okay, I've had a guy, complain about the condition of the road, and, it's a road, and can we get somebody? And they called back and they said, no, the road commission will not handle that. It's considered a private drive, and we have to maintain
Okay.
it.
I don't know. It's such a weird thing that it's like in the back of that neighborhood, and
Yep.
the dynamic of it is. I don't know. I mean, I get the feeling a lot of the neighbors, just assume the park not be there in a sense. So I don't know. But if you opened up an entrance that wasn't through the neighborhood, then it would all change. And that's why. How could we do that? How could we? That's a big ask. I know, but every time I walk around there, I'm like, man, if we could just flip this thing and have people coming
The other
through
way.
on.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Think about it. I just continue to look at it and explore in my mind how we could do that, because then it would make the park, I feel like, more integrated into the community and the neighborhood rather than just being back there. But I don't know. Fair enough. If we ever get money.
Yeah.
And
Donation, somebody could always donate a strip to.
or I guess how would we find out if it's allowed to buy that driveway? Like you were saying, that you don't think the township would allow it. When you like.
It'd be variances.
Would I ask?
Nobody in the the whole township board. You'd have to go through a whole process through planning, and I believe it'd be
Zoning.
You'd have to go through. And
Okay.
it'd have to pass through planning, and then from planning, it would have to pass through the township board.
It may not be that hard. But that's okay. All right. First thing I want to ask them if they would be considered, if they'd consider selling it or a portion of it to be able to open it up for public use. Almost cut off the neighborhood aspect at some point. So I don't know. That's all. That's what I've been looking at. And the stone will take care of. So I think that's it for Parley.
Okay. Samaria?
I don't have anything new at Samaria necessarily.
Okay. Anybody know anything about White? Heard anything?
Been to it regularly over the past month, and we're definitely, I know we had discussed it. I think spring is when we need to consider, and we're going to have to for the main play parks, another mulch round.
Yep.
I noticed that. I don't know if Pat ever received in all the different parts and things for all the different playgrounds that were ordered, where we are with all
Check
of
on
that.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
I know Chaz was going to this was August. I don't know.
Okay, all right. So Wheeler Preserve, 2 weeks ago, I think it was now, a week ago Friday, we had a Oak Openings Green Ribbon Initiative. They came out. We were one of the 3 parks that they looked at, and they came over, and there's probably about 25, 30 people there. And we walked the trail. And one of the things they mentioned, of course, was the tree of heaven, which we knew was invasive. But then they came out with the spotted lanternfly, which that is the host tree, the tree of heaven for the spotted lanternfly, which we're trying to keep out of the area because it's devastating to the crops as well as other trees, any type of stone fruit, cherries, whatever, peaches, plums, all that. So Pat and I walked it. We walked both parks that day. Walked around Wheeler, we marked all the large trees that are tree of heaven that we know must be dealt with. We're going to go ahead and get the one by the parking lot cut down because that's too close to the electrical lines for anybody else to deal with. And then Pat said what they could do, rather than cut them down right away, they could girdle them, take the bark off all the way around, and that at least would kill the tree, and in that case stop the spotted lanternfly from laying eggs on it, because they only want to lay it on a tree that's alive, not on a tree that's dead, because that's what they use. They use the cambium layer for their young. So he's going to attempt to get the guys from maintenance to do that soon. And we'll go from there. We'll see if that works. We talked about other things at Wheeler also that need to be taken care of, but that was the main one we were working on.
With these trees of heaven, if we were to go in the surrounding neighborhood of the park, would we find them throughout people's houses and backyards?
You might.
Probably.
The
Most
tree of
certainly.
heaven.
I mean,
Is that a lot of properties around Bedford?
I was going to say, yeah.
A lot of properties have them. People just
So it's
don't
like-
even know it.
I mean, if we
People
walked
plant-
up and
people
down.
plant them because when they're
They look
young,
pretty.
they look like pretty little palm trees.
Right.
And then they grow into these things and start breeding and then drop by the thousands every year, seeds by the thousands, and they are very good, like 90% germination rate.
Right.
Like,
So
I
if
don't
we
know
were
if that's
to,
an accurate number, but they're
They're invasive.
yeah,
like
they're
if we were going to go from Wheeler Preserve and walk up and down Section Road,
oh,
no
they're
doubt
probably all over
they're all over. So like, what are we doing? Is this?
our part.
I mean, like we're government, so government's got to do things and throw money in the air. That
Uh-huh.
like, I mean, I
Well,
don't know. I know it sucks and
we
that
do-
nobody wants them, but like, are we going to make a dent? We're just one property amongst a whole township of properties that are littered with these
It's
things.
an educational thing. I mean, the DNR is on it. You know, all these government agencies are on it. They're trying to get the word out to the people, you know, if you've got one.
It's more of a
invasive.
lead by example.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
it.
Okay. I mean, all right. So, okay. Fair enough.
All right, pocket parks. Anything?
I've got some
Okay, yeah.
park
Okay.
parks. Yeah, I stopped by a couple today just because I had those Mulch King invoices and I didn't quite understand them and what they were for. So maintenance. So some of the neighbors at one of the pocket parks in Colonial, a couple of the neighbors that they for years have just been throwing their yard debris over the fences into the park. Well, now people have complained in the neighborhood, so maintenance got over there, got it all cleaned out. We paid to have it dumped. And I went over there today to look at it, and
Somebody else dumped.
believe it or not, there are fresh grass clippings from numerous neighbors, all back there already, branches. They're already repiling it up.
Where is this?
Colonial, on right next to your neighborhood. Yes, Cranbrook. No, not Cranbrook. The other one. It's an empty lot. The other entrance. What's the other entrance? Is that Middlebury? Yeah, Middlebury. No, the other park that's empty. There's two parks in there.
Not the one with the little playground and the basketball court.
Nope, the empty lot one. It's
Okay.
a huge empty lot with an old farm well in the middle of it.
Is it fenced or anything?
There's a fence back there, yeah.
So they know they're throwing it over into.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yes.
So do
Yep.
we, I guess we need to look and see if we already have an ordinance in place against that? And if we already have an ordinance in
Dumping
place?
illegally on somebody else's property.
And I think you need to post, we need to get a sign and
So-
post it so they can't say they didn't know about it, and then we just pursue it with the ordinance department.
Ordinance has already been over there. I don't know, because with everybody being closed today,
Right.
I wasn't able to talk to anybody, so I'm going to pursue it further
I'm curious where this is.
tomorrow.
Okay.
So I'm going to pursue it further tomorrow.
Yeah,
Maybe the location.
I'd
Maybe
say
that's
he's,
one, yeah.
I've got him mapped.
He's
Having him
working
zoom
on it.
into the lot.
Where am I? Oh.
But I think if there's already an ordinance against that, then we just need to post it with the ordinance, because that way,
It's that empty lot.
on the weekends, when this happens and the ordinance department
the
isn't able to
other
do
one.
it, as long as there's an ordinance against it, the police will pursue it.
the other side.
Without us posting it with the ordinance number, they just blow it off.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I think we need to get a sign out there with that.
I don't know. I intend on just going and knocking on their door. I was just going to wait until my business cards. I went and I stopped to help printers and ordered business cards for myself today
For you.
with my park email and everything on it, so I can. Because the last few times I've talked to people has been slightly hostile, and usually I get a call within a few days from Damon Cecil, the head of the ordinance department, asking if I had talked to such and such at such park and claimed to be a park commissioner. Because they want to make sure that they don't have somebody just telling them they can't do something. So
Yes,
I'm going to
we
wait
should.
for that so I can at least, if nobody answers, I can leave a card. Hopefully they contact me.
Everybody should have those cards. That's really
But
coming.
I'm going to leave a note with a certain amount of time to please remove your debris from park property.
Okay.
Great.
Anything else about pocket parks? Any other ones we have, anything going on? I know the one out at the end of Monroe Road, I think it is, somewhere in there. I got a call from a gentleman who says that they're parking, they're unloading motorized vehicles, and they're zipping around that park again. We put signs up there last year, I think,
Well, it was last year.
and they threw them
They-
away.
yeah, I said
They
they
pulled
tore
them
'em
up
down.
and tore them down, so
Oh, I haven't been over that one in a little while.
I don't know, we need to do something with that too. He's calling, I told him, I says,
Well, they need to call
We had it
I mean,
posted.
they can't call us. They need to call the police while
That's
it's
what I
happening.
said.
That's
When
the only
they're
thing.
there, call
I mean,
them.
you can't 5 days later go find somebody. Hey, were you riding your 4-wheeler in this park?
Right.
They're gonna tell you no.
Right.
I mean, that's.
Well, I told this gentleman, because he's the one that's complaining, I said, yes, just call the police next time they're there. We've had the signs out, there is an ordinance against it, they can pursue that. All right, comments from the public again. Anyone?
Okay, Gail Kane, 105.6 West Temperance. Parley Park, try for an easement versus buying. And your duty to them could be to put the stone down. Nobody mentioned anything about the locking of the skate park. We heard tell of this a little bit, bits and pieces. To me, if it was locked, whoever locked it needed to put up a notice and put their phone number on it. The park board shouldn't have handled it. It was removed from your hands. They apparently did not know that you were in the process of fixing it. They've got the same issue with the DDA bridge. They ended up with an engineer checking it. They were told the structure was safe, but the handrails were not. They didn't tape that shut. That's still being allowed to be used as a walkway. Let's see here. Back Middlebury, you ought to go to the ordinance, and they should send letters to everybody that's in that area. Tell them to call the cops if they see it happening. Post it. If they remove it, you just take a picture, document it that it's in with the legal group here. Your railroad right away, I would find out what that is first. Like Carol said, a dog park wouldn't be bad, a football field for the little kids. And does that include their playground for their daycare back there? What part of it is? And that people already do use their parking lot to access that ball field. So you may be able to, that fence sits on the line, and we used to drop it for downtown Temperance Days. So that is the line right there. I don't know that you'd have to do a whole new design, as we keep getting told by the township. That stuff's all fluid. It changes all the time. So you shouldn't have to redo your whole design per se. You're reaching your achievement of trying to buy new properties, so to speak. And if you sell the property, then you could use that money to turn around and go back into it. The other thing is I see what you've got for your bids. You've only got 2 bids. And sorry to say, I hope to God that you get treated with better respect than what they did when they talked about the water fountains. I don't know why they insist on doing your work and then making you do it and then arguing with you when you come up to the township. There's a lack of respect. And they even blatantly said that they didn't understand why I was saying what I said, because I apologized to Carol and got called out of order for it. But this is crazy. So keep up the good work, people. That's all we can say. I appreciate your parks, and it's something we need to have in this community. Thank you.
Thank you, Gail.
Thanks, Gail. All right, commissioners' comments. Aaron? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But any other public comment?
Cleared.
Thank you. All right, Aaron, anything?
Remember when we were doing cows for a little while? When we did like every other meeting a cow?
Oh, yeah.
I think we did that once or twice, right?
Yeah, we kind of scrapped
1
it.
year.
I mean, if we could put a treasurer's report on the front of a cow meeting.
You can't put a treasurer's report on a cow. You cannot make a decision at a
Can't
cow
make
meeting.
decisions,
just
it's all just
discussion.
discussion.
I just
Discuss it
like,
all
'cause
day.
these agendas are great, but I mean, we could condense them and streamline them into once a month, I think, and still get it done, and then we can come together and just, rap about what's going on and throw ideas and things out there and have
We
more of
haven't had a
a.
cow meeting forever, and just to look, where's our budget even at this point?
Oh, being depleted.
Yeah,
Being depleted.
yeah.
Which, we've never spent even half. I don't believe we've ever even spent half of our budget.
I don't think we spend much at all in general, but
No, the last
whatever.
few years, no, we haven't.
I don't know.
Be a surplus for us to
There should be.
There
go
is.
and utilize.
There is.
Well, that's right. Where's our numbers at? Because
Um,
I know we're looking. We've
today I
got
couldn't give you an answer right now.
Manic
I
and
don't.
Smith approved to start designing pickleball courts and
So as for that, so I know we have roughly just a hair over $230,000 in one account. Aside from our yearly budget.
say aside from covering two next July 1st.
Yeah, that's in our assigned park fund is what it's called, and that's where our rainy day fund went when we got put into the general fund. Because when we got put into the general fund, we are no longer required to carry a rainy day fund, as the general fund has its own.
Until that disappears.
So that much, yeah. So, but now we no longer roll our money into another fund like a rainy day fund. Now it just goes back to the general fund and it is gone. When the fiscal year is over, the budget is gone.
Well, I just feel like, a more frequent discussion of where we're at, where we're going, what's, just what's on our, like kind of the run through that we do at the end. Just doing the whole meeting of that might benefit us, But I said that before and we scrapped it for some reason. I can't even remember, but
I believe.
mean,
Well,
the treasurer's report on the front.
I believe it's because we came to one or two of them and nobody really had much anything. But I think it's because we were all pretty well new and
at
still
the
trying
time.
to get it figured out.
This
And
was still year one of us.
Right.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Well,
if you want to put it in our next, because we can't. I mean, you don't want to change meeting stuff
sure.
overnight. But if you want to, Carol, put it in our next agenda to discuss it.
I will do
Yeah,
that
to discuss it, and
for a cow.
yeah, I mean, we don't have to necessarily say, hey, every first meeting is going to be a cow meeting, but maybe we can pick out and,
Quarterly? I don't know. I
do
mean,
one, do one, every month. We
replace
might
one
end
of
up doing
these
one every
with one
month,
of
or at
those.
least every other, but
Or quarterly, yeah.
we can discuss it and, and plan
Well,
plan
how-
for one so we can all show up. We're going to need some cow meetings coming up anyway, because we should probably we need to discuss the capital improvement plan, which instead of getting a capital outlay in our budget, they're doing what they call the capital improvement plan, which now they're going to stick aside so much money each year for big projects, like replacing a playground or a skate park or a parking lot or the roof on a building. So instead of, hey, we got to fork out 40 grand, it's going to be, hey, we're going to put $10,000 away for the next 4 years each year. Or for a playscape, we're going to put $50,000 away each year for 5 years, or for 30 years, or for 10 years, so we just have to give them a list of things that are going to need replaced. It's basically anything over $5,000.
It's a big list.
Yeah, it's a big list.
Big list.
So, in the big misunderstanding we had last year in it, because it started last year. That's why we have $0 in capital outlay.
And I was
in our budget.
notified the week
that's the
before
reason.
they closed the thing. They
Yep.
didn't even realize we needed to do it. And then she came to me the week before and she said,
So-
oh, by the way.
Well, I didn't want to open the can of worms with my comment, but the fact that there is plenty
It's
to
all
discuss
right.
there
It's-
makes me
Yes,
realize
there
that
is.
We need a comment.
There is. Oh,
Use
no,
that more.
there's a lot. There's a lot. So, I mean, if you want to put into Carol,
Yeah.
I will
our next
put it on
meeting
the
to
agenda
discuss
for
a
our
cow
next
meeting
meeting.
for
Yep.
for capital improvement and is the biggest one that really needs discussed.
Yeah, right now.
Because
We
that's
need
going to
work on
really
that.
help the budget and
Yeah, and get us a plan for
get long term.
Yeah.
spring, March and April
Yeah.
will be around. We know, like I said, mulch is going to need to be done. We spent 10 grand last time and we still could have done more.
Yeah, yeah.
We're looking at a big project.
I guess
Well, we're
at
looking.
this
I know
point-
talking with
one
Pat. Pat said he'd like at least 50 yards at each park, at least.
Well, we did.
Not as bad as they were last time.
We did
but they-
200, 100, 100, and we only covered the 3 parks.
Yeah. So
Yeah, we do need to add more for that. Okay.
Throw it in there,
Hang on,
but
yeah.
then if we could do one before now and the end of the year, I guess that would be great. And maybe more.
A couple, maybe.
So, yeah.
Yeah. See how it goes. All right. Andrew, anything else?
I'm good.
The only thing I have that I just remembered, I should have mentioned when we talked about white. Unfortunately, I got an email today from the DNR, the SMART grant, and they did not accept our proposal to try and get funding for the all-inclusive playground over there at White. So, of course, they did mention that come April 1st, we can reapply with another park or another idea, whatever, but we were denied. We didn't make the second cut. I was really hoping we did, but
do you
nope.
know what did make the cut?
So, no, nope, not yet. They should be publicizing that, though, the different parks that they did accept, and we can look at that probably within the next week. It'll be on the website.
That's another thing in Cow to kind of develop a plan for applying in April.
Yeah, we need to go for more grants. We do. We need to get some help from the grant committee to go for more grants, in my opinion. All right,
Not
Chris, anything else?
No, that's nothing else.
All right. In that case, I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Meeting is ended. Thank you.